This is the Retrorubber glue from Morimoto. This is the first time working with this stuff, but it's pretty good. Headlight sealant, as you can see, some fresh packing in there. This stuff is solid. It's solid stuff. One box will do pretty much a pair of headlights. And here we have the Zone Tech Bi-Xenon projectors. So it actually has like a Bi-Xenon motor in it, but we won't be using it. So we can actually cut that wire because you won't need to use it. Unless you want to, you can keep it. But you can see this is Shroud and the projector bowl, and you got your bulb holder already attached with the locking nut. Here's without the Shroud. One thing I like about this projector a lot is that the Shroud actually screws on. You can get screws, so you have to bet the number 4 screws, and they fit right into there. And what it does, it holds the Shroud on there pretty tightly. So these little screws here, these got to come off. We're going to have to modify this 9006 bulb holder, and then we're going to take a Dremel cutter and we're going to cut and shave down this piece. This guy right here, this Dremel cutting tool with this little wheel at the end right here. This thing is a beast. Highly recommend getting one of these. It's a Dremel, Multi-Max. This thing has done me well. You buy new heads for it. I mean, this goes through plastic pretty easy. My friends used it to cut off wheel studs off his DSM. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It works really awesome, and it's been really good. So I highly recommend that tool, and that's what I've been using to cut this plastic. It makes plastic look like nothing. We're going to trim this down, so we want to get this nice and flat. See how it's kind of sunk in right now a little bit? Well, we want to get this so that it's flat, so the locking nut can go on there. Alright, I'll show you what I did so far. So I started cutting where I can get the blade on there. I started just cutting slots all around the sides, because the way this head is designed, it hits against the thing. So I can see I laid on top of the flattest surface I can, and I'll push straight through, and then I'll cut through as much as I can, and then I'll pull it out. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut down at angles. As you can see right here, I'm starting to let's see if you can see it. You can see right here, but I'm coming down at an angle, so I'm going to chip out away around the circle to make it even. Like I said, this doesn't have to be pretty. It's up to you. This is going to be covered anyways. We just need to get it flat, and the bulb needs to sit securely, and that's it. And so you can cover it up with a a headlight cover or something. So lot of woo! Ah! Alright, so as you can see, we got this nice and done. The best way is to cut away towards from the center out at a low angle, so like trimming from the center out, so that way you don't risk messing up the hole. Do not damage this hole. You want that to be as perfect as possible. And that's it. Done. I just came back from cutting. So I had to shave down this back piece so you can see where the connector is. So I had to get this nice and flat, so that when I put this projector through, see how it's got that nice, a lot of room to get it nice and tight and even lock in there. So if you look at the unmodified one, which is right here, you can see how much room there is in there. That's to keep the original 9006 bulb secure. So here's the unmodified, and here's your modified. So you want it to be nice and flat, just like that. You can spend as much time as you want as far as making it nice and clean as you like. It's up to you. But this is going to be covered up anyways, and we just want enough to get the projector inside. So once we're able, you know, to get this in here, so I don't know if you can see this, but right now the projector, the bottom of the projector is kind of hitting on the inside of the bowl, which is right here. So we may have to trim this piece out in order to get this to go in securely and evenly. We want that projector to be nice and straightforward, so we'll see how that goes. So we're gonna go ahead and trim this part here. I'm gonna mark it where I want it to go. I want this to be straight out like this. Alright, so I marked it. I don't know if you can see it right there. So that's what I'm going to cut. Alright, so you got that trimmed out. And the key is, I mean, I don't have a table. I'm just doing this unsafely for video purposes. Can't sit me in a little baby table. But yeah, so you want to cut that. I traced it out and cut that shape. So you can see now that it's flush, see how much it has more room to bite and how easier it is to, you know, make it nice and tight. So you want to make sure the rotation is good. The way you do that, just keep this, I try to keep this aligned and centered here. As you can see, I mean, that's about hand tight, not too tight. You want to get it, you don't want to get it real tight until you actually, you know, you get the projector shroud trimmed and everything, and you're like, you know exactly where it's going to sit. That's when you do the final. So now we're going to test, we're going to trim the shroud and get this to fit on here. As far as the shroud goes, I marked this out. This is where I'm going to trim it on the bottom. You don't want to take too much off, so I'm going to just try a little bit and see where that puts me. Alright, so I think this is going to, I'm going to finally trim it. I've marked it here. As you can see, I've marked the center very lightly. It's right there. And I wrote the letter T on the inside. I don't know if you can see it with the camera, but the T is right there. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, since I have that pre-marked already on the first test fit one, the second one should be a piece of cake, because all I got to do is just match it, you know. So as you can see, got the matching shrouds. I'm just going to mark, you know, the top again. And let's see here. Okay, top middle right here. So that will be the top that I'm marking. I know that this part goes up, but the middle is actually right on here. So I'm going to do that right there, and then the bottom we're going to match that as well. So I'm going to cut. Alright, so now I got it cut. I got this pre-marked, cut out, and cut that square out. Same thing, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Alright, so I got both shrouds are cut and ready to go. Alright, so here's the trim shroud here. And got this up. What I like about, like I said, what I like about these shrouds is that you can actually bolt the shroud to the projector itself, where other shrouds you kind of have to like glue them or use some sort of epoxy, and I hate that. But what I love is like the shroud has really high quality plastic, it's durable, and you can screw mounts right onto the projector, and you know that it's not going to go anywhere. Alright, so a moment of truth. We're going to go ahead and stick this in. No hitting. The projector goes right in, as you can see right here, and it's just cleared in the bottom. make sure I get the rotation right, but looks like it's in there now, pretty good. Lines up in the back, pretty good there. So let's put the locking nut on and see how we're looking. Alright, so here's the first test mount with the test cutting. It seems like everything's good. It's the glasses, the lens is hitting here a little bit on the corner, you can see. But we haven't brought this all the way out, so we tighten this a little bit more, bring it back probably like I'd say 1/4 inch or less, but just enough to get enough clearance so we can put this bulb holder in. And then after that, it should be good. Like I said, it's a really tight fit. It's pretty tight, but I think we got it, and it looks pretty clean. My brother wants to paint his shroud black, so once we do that, we can actually put everything together and reseal it, and we're good to go. Alright, so we finish mounting and tightening the projector in. Once you mark it, I marked it centered and everything, and you want to hold one hand on the projector, hold it still, and you just want to tighten that locking nut. Once the locking nut is tight, you want to get it deep enough so you can put the bulb holder in. You can see right here. And now we're going to install the Retrorubber along the sides here. Alright, so we're going to put the lens while it's still cool. Line it up where you know where it's going to be. You got yours? Mm-hmm. Line it up and just lightly push it where you know it's going to go.
Oh yeah, dude, you can't even notice that cut. You can't even see it because the housing covers it. Cool.
Alright, so now this is a light push while it's still all room temp. Now we're going to stick it in an oven. We're going to heat it up. And then once it's done, we're going to pull out and start getting it real tight. How's your first retrofitting experience?
It's good. Messy.
Messy. You got that right. That is pretty messy.
I'm trying to get that stuff off.
So what did you do with the first one? How'd you get the stuff off?
Just use this, Zenit cleaner.
Send it.
And also use some of that adhesive remover.
Alright, so we have tape here to kind of hold it together while it's cooling off, and then we'll clean it up. And then we'll be good to go. So we were waiting on the H1 kit. Now that it's finally here, John installed them. So before we did a test fire, we just put like a what, a test, like a H3 bulb just there, and it didn't really show too much. But you said you saw a big difference when you fired these up.
Yeah, the light output was definitely better. Each one that sat nice and flush in there. And I know that the H3 didn't really sit too flush.
Yeah.
So
everything bolt right up, no Oh yeah, that's way better. I mean look at the wall though.
yeah.
And they're pretty straight too.
Yeah.
Which is good. Nice. So that's it. Overall, pretty successful. The only part that was really surprised me was how messy that Retrorubber was, and that's because we didn't use the flathead to
like smooth it all out.
push it in.
I'm gonna back it out.
Back it out like to the end so we can see how far out.
See the thing though? If I back up, I come at a hard angle.
Can you just back just straight, just stop and not like, you know what I mean? This way we can get your headlight adjustment right. Yeah, like right there. Maybe even more. That's good right there. So now we can see.
Why is it different?